Yeah, let's get control here.
Good man.
You have his correct cell phone number?
Dear gosh, my fingernails in this phone. Oh, I don't have that one. That's what- Learn how to dial the phone.
You got 0780?
Did Sam catch up with you, Dave? Sam Stark?
Yeah.
I gave him your cell phone number.
Well, when I got home yesterday, he didn't call me today.
He was in this morning looking for you.
Yes.
He didn't try calling me.
Hi, you've reached.
He must not have been in a good service area.
Yes,
Exactly.
So, he may call in the middle of our
Well,
conversation.
you know, I know he really wanted, but I think we can go ahead.
Yeah. It was postponed last time because we wanted to be there.
Yeah. Okay, so we're back in session, as I mentioned. Our 9:30 item is land purchase request, Lakeview Ready Mix. And Suzanne is here, Dave's here also. And I would like to start out by saying thank you to Suzanne for meeting with me separately here last week and to the board for, as I'd asked Ginger to do some work that she had done. Thank you, Ginger, for that. And Suzanne and I had a great meeting along with Dave this last week, so thank you. Sorry for the delay, but come on up, Suzanne, if you don't mind. And Suzanne submitted a amended letter from the last one. I think you've seen it, Commissioner. And so,
Okay, well, thank you for entertaining the idea of us purchasing the land that's adjacent to our property. As I mentioned before, we're particularly interested in it as we continue to grow, and we are requiring extra space, and particularly right now for stockpiles that are associated with the asphalt plant that we've had come to town and serve the resident and commercial needs that are going on right now. I did do an updated letter. I don't know that it's necessary to read that letter today, but
it'll be part of the record because you turned it in.
okay.
I personally, if you don't mind, I would like to just say a couple things about the letter.
Sure.
Thank you for what you brought into Lake County. The letter articulates that quite well. Number of employees you have now, where you started out many years ago, where you're at today, and wanting to expand and go on. And we haven't sold a lot of our properties down there over the years, but the ones we've sold have always been job creation, business growth, and so on. Your letter articulates exactly that, where you've gone, where you've come from where you started out, and what your plans for the future, which for me, Suzanne, really makes a difference as we're looking at trying to sell for Lake County some of the, even though it's not filled or anything, some of the best industrial land because we have so much limited. And so as we can see the potential growth, the retention of the jobs, and all that, this letter really, for the record, shows as commissioners make a decision of why we would make a decision. So thank you for doing that.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you.
Your growth of your company and your retention, but also potential for expansion.
Right.
of employees.
24 years is a long time, and sometimes it's hard to look, really notice what you've done until you're forced to look back. You can't see the forest through the trees. But we have really developed the business a lot in that time.
And portion that we're talking about is, what is it, 3.8 acres?
3.46.
3.46.
44 acres.
That is immediately adjacent to your current property to the north.
Correct.
And
Correct.
it's undeveloped and floodplain, whatever, you
Yes.
need another bill to bring it up to level.
Right.
And 3.44, that was one thing that I wanted clarification on, and we talked about that. There's an alleyway there. If the alley was vacated, it'd be 3.86. But talking with Suzanne, I think they probably want to consider the vacation of the alley at a later date if we sell it to them, because that still keeps a separation there if they decide to use it or anything like that. So the acreage came out at 3.44 because the alley's still in existence.
Correct.
I think it's wise to keep the alley there until you expand your options.
Yes, that's we agree. I mean, it does give us more options for different kinds of developments, so. And then I also didn't want to forget that I did attach a letter of commitment, from the asphalt plant that is located there. And that states that they're committed to staying until the end of 2018 and hope to, work together with us in order to be able to remain there permanently, so.
And that is really great for our community
It's much needed. And
yes.
we've been asked for years to get in the asphalt business, and we only can stretch ourselves so thin. So it's great to be able to have a company that is willing to come serve us.
So hypothetically, it'd be great if that got filled and they have stockpiles there, if they needed to stay for the next 20 years.
That would be wonderful.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah,
So,
time will tell.
They've been, the asphalt folks been busy since they set up.
They have. They're operating on a kind of an as-needed basis, so they don't operate every day, but they are trying to work together so that they can open at key times. And I think they plan to service a lot of local residents and business, along with the state job that they have going on and the county road job that they had earlier. So they finally have things fine-tuned. It seems to be running well.
and the densities and everything out there came out
Good.
very good.
They're working with really high-quality products, so I imagine that that they're producing a good quality product too, I'm sure.
Maybe someday I'll give them a try with it.
Yeah, maybe.
That's why when the ice is over, I can do.
So Dave, did you have anything to add? I believe, I know your recommendation was before, but do you have any statements or anything you need to bring forward at this time?
No, not anything new. I recommend that we move forward and we purchase or sell the land and make you ready.
Well, let's talk about the price.
Okay?
You're offering 22.7,
Yes.
and where does that fit in the market?
I put together, along with Ginger may have some comments about this, but I had also put together a little spreadsheet analyzing neighboring properties in that industrial park. And like we had spoken before, prices are kind of all over the board. But the price that I'm offering, along with, well, I've also included some estimates of what it would cost to fill that land. And let's see. It's extensive, so I don't really know how much detail to get into. Have you actually had a chance to look at the information I gathered? I know you
I
did.
have not.
Ginger's. Okay, well, I should share this with you. I got the same thing there. So in this column here, I put the price per acre that it was sold at, or I'm sorry, that the real market value is. And these are all the different pieces of property. And this is all their real market values at this point to kind of compare. So you can see it's all over the board.
And all of them are in different acreages that has an influence in the
Right.
market.
So this is probably, none of them are very comparable because most of them are filled.
Yeah.
So this is probably a comparable piece. It's partially filled, and that's a private owner.
There you go.
You can keep that if you
Okay.
want.
Yeah. Maybe
So-
say you offer a price of 22.7, but it'll take you, I think, in our discussion, about 10,000 to get it up to par.
Actually, no, I re-evaluated that. It's much more expensive than I had originally thought. To fill it 1.5 foot deep, at a price of $6 per yard of material delivered to the project, which is a very reasonable cost, it would take about $50,000. And if you needed to go as high as 3 feet, you just double that to around $100,000. So, you know, Brad and I spoke about different kinds of fill that can be used that, you know, is basically free, but you still have the expense of trucking and spreading and, you know, it's an expensive endeavor.
There's lots of waste fill around that can be utilized because it's not going to be a residential or anything.
You know, so I think the real benefit of us buying it is being in the position to be able to fill it as, you know, time goes on, and also having the equipment. And then eventually, if it ever gets to a point where part of it is sold, it would be sold shovel ready. It would be available to somebody at that.
And if you needed water and or sewage.
Right, that would be, I would estimate another $10,000 per hookup. So it's quite expensive to take care of it.
So on the price, yes, there's been a lot, and thank you, Ginger, once again, she done a lot of work, Suzanne done a lot of work. The prices are all over the board. The price that Suzanne came up with was basically the assessed value of it, plus a little bit, I think just a little over that. For me, it was justifying selling it at the assessed value compared to real market value and everything. I became very comfortable after I talked to Suzanne to go with the assessed value. What her offer is based on where their business has grown to, the job retention and potential growth. And that's not out of the ordinary for us to sell properties a little bit less than other ones or whatever, based around job creation, job retention, and all that. So I became very comfortable with what her offer was. And even reading her letter, I think it was a good down memory lane when we were talking, but I think there's probably even more things in here, more things that could be put in here than he was even able to get put in it. So if you're good, I'm ready to.
I'm good. It's assessed value, but you're going to be putting thousands.
Yes.
To make it usable.
Exactly.
And then my baseline is
And
it'd be put to good use with jobs and commercial activities as opposed to just sitting there.
right,
And it'd be on tax rolls.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I'll make a motion to accept the offer of $22,700 to purchase 3.44 acres of land in our industrial development park as submitted.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Further discussion. This will take our legal counsel and Dave to put the contractual stuff together. So the motion and everything's to Dave. It'll take a few days for Dave to get this all put together. I don't know if we need to amend our motion, but whenever we do sell properties, whether it's foreclosed land or whatever, the burden upon title search and all the filing fees go to the purchaser.
You explain that to me and that's acceptable.
Okay, I thought I better state it in a meeting.
I saw in there that you was willing to cover all that.
Okay, good.
Any further discussion? Yeah, go
Somebody
ahead.
had mentioned that Commissioner Sound had some thoughts of some encumbrance. Is that off the table?
It hasn't been mentioned again.
Okay. And everything's just a straightforward, yeah,
All right.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm ready.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
But if you could
Hopefully
use-
we'll make you proud.
Well, we appreciate it very much.
I appreciate your willingness to help improve the economy and the state of our
Well,
community.
what we do, lots of times we just step out of the way and let you guys do that.
That's good government. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Susan.
Okay, so moving down our agenda, we have, is there any department updates? Anybody here that needs to do a department update? Yes? No? Nobody's jumping up down. Okay, we'll move on down to liaison updates. most of mine, you were in the same meetings I was, SCOED and SCOAC, so no need to rehash too much. Your transportation plan and everything's there. Yesterday, I did have regional solutions meeting, and we looked at our priority list and our support list and all that. I did have the railroad moved up to high priority by our being able to apply for grants and everything. We had it as a supported category, but I thought we have a new operator. We have some things going on right now as far as trying to leverage all the dollars we can for the railroad. And Connect Oregon now, it's where they done earmarks, so we can't go to Connect Oregon for a grant, which we traditionally went every year, or the operators whenever year we didn't, that we need to move it up the priority list, up to high, so we can try to leverage any other opportunities we can. So other than that, the list still stayed pretty much the same. I know you worked on broadband a lot. It stayed, kept it up on the high priority side. On broadband, Larry Holzgang did talk through the governor's budget. There's $500,000, I think, available across the state on some broadband planning or whatever, but I think you guys are already past the planning stage or right in the middle of the planning stage, but you might check with Larry Holzgang. I know you stay in contact with him quite a bit to see what maybe this budget year on broadband there is there. I wanted to keep it there. I know you're doing quite a bit of work on that, so we kept it in the high priority.
Appreciate that.
So other than that, Commissioner, that's about my liaison on
I
that.
haven't thought about too much. I've just been bouncing here. I haven't even been able to sit down at the desk. But there is after the Anna fire, Summer Lake, they've been talking for years about forming a rural fire protection agency. The Anna fire, I think, was kind of the spark. And Kevin Lehman I was very impressed with that meeting he had up there. He's moving forward to try to get a.
So he took the lead over the other, there was another guy there that was working.
Well, Marv Vetter is the state ODF person in charge of Rangeland Fire Protection Associations. So he's there. Kevin was there to promote as a landowner. So
Good.
they're moving forward on that.
It's time.
And, yeah, and it's not just, they're not looking at just the Summer Lake area that they're back up with it. Federal lands are covered by federal agencies for fire suppression. Domestic or private forest lands are usually covered by Oregon Department of Forestry. And then there are some fire protection districts like Silver Lake.
Rural fire protection.
Yeah. But there are some lands out there in the county that is not covered by any of these other agencies. So actually, those actually falls back to the county's responsibility.
As unprotected land.
Yeah, as unprotected lands. But several years ago, the Warner Valley folks, and give credit to Chuck Messner and John O'Keefe and others, formed a Rangeland Fire Protection Agency to cover the otherwise non-protected lands out there, the private lands. And Kevin Lehman is taking the lead, working with the ODFW to also form a Rangeland Fire Protection Association. Not just at Summer Lake, Summer Lake, they're just parcels of unprotected lands, but also looking at how can they incorporate anywhere from Paisley up to Christmas Valley, Fort Rock.
Yeah, Christmas Valley area is pretty good, just because of the Penn Phillips.
There's a tremendous amount of unprotected lands in that area.
I think-
Anyway, that's just moving along as having. Ginger?
I think they're looking north to Valley Falls area too, or at least through the Crooked Creek,
Yeah.
as far north as that also
South.
is what I heard, so it's big.
If it's gaining that kind of energy, I mean, no pun intended, strike while iron's hot.
Yes.
So that's good, very good. And you're participating in those meetings, very good.
The only other thing the Maiden Butte Wild Horse Training Facility. John Kiley and his two brothers, Dick Bradbury, Mary Bradbury, and others formed a non-profit corporation to train horses off of the Bureau of Land Management, Maiden Butte area. And that was a major factor in getting the horses removed, because this is what we call a 3P, public-private partnership, in that they work as a private organization, they're working with the public, Bureau of Land Management in partnership. If they keep their horses down and they take the excess each year, train them for adoption, not for sale, adoption. The language is key here. And they got some startup fund from the Bureau of Land Management for the facilities and all this. And they have a 501c3 nonprofit organization to run it. And they needed a little diversity on their board of directors. So not as a county, I'll emphasize this, not as a county commissioner, but as a private citizen. I'm on that board of directors. And thank them, they made me president. But the whole, we need to get another member on that board for diversification, somebody that's in the environmental or wild horse groups. So we have a balanced board of directors on that. But it was going to be in July, open house. It was going to be sometime this fall. They're still in the process of, they got X horses ready to go, but they like to get a chain of horses, like wild, semi-wild. So get their process down. So we're actually looking at next spring sometime for our open house thing. So anyway, again, I stress that even though I'm on it, it is not a county function that I'm there on. So I just want to make, because when I sit in a meeting, they say Commissioner Kestner, I said no, I'm Ken Kestner, private citizen. So just for sure.
Yeah. And last I knew, they're feral horses, not wild horses.
Yeah.
You gotta use
And also,
you gotta use the buzzword, I know.
And also, out toward Denao, where they used to have those wild burros out there. I always enjoyed seeing those, but that's in the Shelton Refuge, and they got rid of them. I was hoping to get one for a yard owner. Anyway, that's all I got.
I could elaborate on some stories on those burros out there over the years. If you want one, I know people might get you one.
Yeah.
You might want to change your mind after you have them around for a minute.
You know, the other thing,
You're gonna be the first one to adopt something out here, and it's gonna be a burro.
yeah, but one jackass likes another.
Well, I just wondered if, what is it, that coffee commercial, the guy walking up through the rainforest with the,
Yes,
I can see Commissioner Kestner in his burro going up through the trail there.
there you go. They are cute.
With that, are you done?
Just like you know, did attend the Christmas Valley Musical Festival. That was their 5th one. I attended last year and this one. It's really taken off to sustain itself. It's a good, they have it there at Flowery Park, and it was well worth attending. That's all I got.
Okay, with that, we will adjourn at 4 minutes to 10. Thank you.